Hi, and welcome back to Loving an Addict. I wanted to bring up something that I've kind of been leery to talk about, and that is that so many people believe that if you have a loved one incarcerated, that at least you know they're clean and there aren't drugs in there. Well, that's simply not true. I've found out a lot, and it's only been through visits. It's never been talked about on the phone, but there are always people that bring in drugs. And this is where it's hard for the person incarcerated. They can't tell on them. There's consequences to pay if they do that. And they're hoping to God that whoever's hiding something isn't going to be assumed as theirs. And yes, indeed, there are people using in prison. The correctional officers are very good at drug testing, and my son has seen many people leave where he was at because they tested positive. Now, I'm not going to say he's perfect and that I don't think he would use if he thought he could get away with it, but to him it's silly, and he wonders why anybody would do something like that when they just would have to start all over again and have more time. And for him, he wants it just to be part of his horrible journey, but not his destination. So here's where it gets difficult. They do get some classes in there. I don't think very much, and not anything he's been impressed with, or it was regarding communication and how to speak with other people, and that's not a weak point for him. He's a very good communicator. He has very good vocabulary. I don't even know what he's talking about half the time. And so stuff like that's silly. So he, in March, he will have been in there 2 years. So they're getting close to, looking at him being released in the end of September. So he has to get character letters from people, and we thought it would just be a great idea if he could go into outpatient and get some real help. He has stayed clean for these last 2 years, but to get some real help on what the core cause is. Well, to my disappointment, I'd called a place I always wanted him to go, and they didn't sound very excited. They're like, well, he's in prison. How long has he been in there? And when I said almost 2 years, they said, well, they use drugs in there. And I said, I'm aware of that, but he hasn't. All of his drug tests have came back clean. And we would just like a really positive start. Well, I have to try to keep the emotional part of me out of this because I feel a little bit offended. Okay. So now he's labeled as this really bad person, and he's not incarcerated for killing anybody. He's incarcerated for the same reason everybody else is going to rehab. He just happened to get caught with some in his personal possession. So I'm trying to look at it from their side as well, and I do see that they want to make sure that all their clients are going to be safe, and they don't know him, they don't know much about him. And so that's just something that I'm going to try to be patient. I'm going to try to look into some other places. In our mind, this was just being preventative and probably doing the smartest thing that you could do, bringing somebody out of that environment and really getting some classes and some training. And I know he would have a completely clear mind to go into that. So that is just what we're dealing with now, and I think anybody who's a mother of an addict knows all the obstacles we try to jump through, and it's kind of disappointing when you think you have a really great idea and all of a sudden you're treated like you're wanting to bring somebody in there that's a murderer. But again, as I said, I am looking at it from both sides. Just thought I would throw this out there. And I also wanted to mention, I kind of look at church the same. Not everybody in there is perfect. None of us are. And so if you ever meet somebody who thinks they're perfect because they go to church, I'd run, because I look at it as a hospital. We're all broken, we all need help, and that's what we're trying to do with my son as well. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.